Hello, lovely ladies out there. It's a beautiful afternoon in Helsinki. Before we begin, I would take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Jagrati Singh, and I'm working as a business development manager for TCS Finland. I have been in Finland for more than a year now. I am passionate about business development, solving client challenges with the help of technology, and help them on their digital transformation journey. Outside work, I love to do watercolor paintings and explore the nature. So this is a brief introduction about myself before we get into the topic for today. Now, moving on to the agenda for next 45 minutes. Okay, let me just take a back seat. Yeah. Yes. Okay, some change. Yeah. Okay. So can you, is my PowerPoint visible to all? There was some technical glitches. Sana, can you please confirm?
Yeah, we can see agenda.
Okay. And you can still say it, right?
Nothing else, only agenda.
Okay. Yeah. So now moving on to the agenda. So today, for next 45 minutes, we will cover what is there in cloud, most heard dialect in recent times, right? So we will touch upon the fundamentals about cloud computing, what it is and how it is important for businesses. Then we will also touch upon about different cloud service models and types of cloud. I have kept last 15 minutes for Q&A. So please feel free to put your queries in the chat. I will take up all the questions in the last 15 minutes of our discussion. Also, will try my best to answer as much as possible. So let's begin. Yeah. Let's go to cloud computing. So welcome to cloud computing. Let's discuss what it is. And as I said, it's no more a buzzword. So what it is actually? It is on-demand delivery of IT resources over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. So instead of buying, owning, or maintaining physical data centers and servers, you can access technology services such as computing power, storage, and databases on need basis from hyperscalers like Amazon Web Services, Google, Azure, etc. So simply put, cloud computing is the delivery of computing services, including servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence over the internet. It is easier to offer faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies of scale. Now, with this understanding in place, let's talk about why cloud computing is important for businesses. What are the benefits, characteristics, and examples of cloud computing? So organizations of every type, size, and industry are using the cloud for a variety of use cases. For example, data backup, disaster recovery, email, virtual desktops, software development and testing, and customer-facing web applications. To give you further examples, healthcare companies are using cloud to develop more personalized treatments for patients. Financial service companies are using the cloud to power real-time fraud detection and prevention. And video game makers are using the cloud to deliver online games to millions of players around the world. So there are millions of reasons why organizations are moving towards cloud. But what are those benefits and characteristics which makes cloud so important for business. So let's have a quick look on these benefits and characteristics. So to begin with, there is the first one, which is cost savings, driving costs down. So cloud allows you to trade capital expenses such as data centers and physical servers for variable expenses and only pay for IT services as you consume it. Plus, the variable expenses are much lower than what you would pay to do it yourself because of the economies of scale. Through economies of scale, hyperscalers like AWS, Azure, Google help companies to save money because companies purchase computing resources in massive quantities at lower costs. And with pay-as-you-go pricing model, companies pay only for the resources they actively use, scaling up or scaling down as and when needed. So on a lighter note, isn't it interesting, ladies, to go out for an online shopping rather than visit physical stores and save on time and efforts? Also, we get better discounts for online shoppings. So the second is agility. Cloud give you easy access to a broad range of technologies so that you can innovate faster and build nearly anything that you can imagine. You can quickly spin up resources as you need them, from infrastructure services such as compute, storage, and databases, to Internet of Things, machine learning, data lakes, and analytics, and much more. You can deploy technology services in a matter of minutes. This gives you the freedom to experiment, test new ideas to differentiate customer experiences, and transform your businesses. With this, let's move on to the third benefit, which is elasticity. With cloud computing, you don't have to over-provision resources upfront to handle peak levels of business activity in the future. Instead, you provision the amount of resources that you actually need. You can scale these resources up or down to instantly grow and shrink capacity as your business needs change. Now, last but not the least, deploy globally in minutes. With cloud, you can expand to new geographic regions and deploy globally in minutes. For example, AWS has infrastructure all over the world, so you can deploy your application in multiple physical locations with just a few clicks. Putting application in closer proximity to end user reduces latency and improves their experience. In our next session, we will actually configure such services on AWS management portal and will show you that how easy it is to configure services in just few clicks. So these are the benefits what at a very high level what cloud has to offer. And along these benefits, I have also put down few of the characteristics, which is just an explanation of what we discussed. Let's say multi-tenancy, it is a part of deploy globally in minutes. Rapid elasticity is just a characteristic of elasticity. And on-demand self-service, it is more covered in the agility part. On the right side, I have also listed few examples of cloud computing. Let's say email, SAP Concur, GoToMeetings, Office 365, Google Docs, Zoho Office, like this. So these are few examples of cloud computing. We will also discuss in detail about these examples or about different service models in our subsequent sections. So let's move on to the next section. Yes. So before I go to the next section, Sana, once again, can you please confirm if you can only see my PowerPoint and nothing else is visible on the screen?
Yes, we can see only what do you mean by cloud service models.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, so so far we discussed what is cloud computing and why it is so important for businesses. With this understanding in place, let's talk about cloud service models. So there are three types of service model. One is SaaS, which is called as software as service. Second is PaaS, which is called as platform as a service. And third is IaaS, which is called as infrastructure as a services. We will discuss in details about these in this section. Moving on. So what you see over here? You see here it's a three identical boxes, same. There is no change. It's a similar identical boxes. So what are these identical boxes representing? So this is a representation of traditional IT stack. It's a traditional IT stack. You have infrastructure service level layer such as server, storage, network. Then you have OS, operating system. Then you have middleware, runtime, and then you have application and data layer. So this is a traditional IT stack that is being used by organizations to run their businesses and leverage technologies to function their businesses better way. So now we have to see, or we have to understand that how this traditional tech stack is being changed with respect to each cloud service model. Let's understand that. So to begin with, let's start with SaaS, which is software as a service. So SaaS represents a most commonly utilized option for businesses in the cloud market. It utilizes the internet to deliver applications which are managed by a third-party vendor to its users. So a majority of SaaS applications run directly through your web browser, which means that you do not require any downloads or installations on the client side. Due to its web delivery model, SaaS eliminates the need to have IT staff download and install applications on each individual computer. So with this service, vendors manage all potential technical issues such as data, middleware, server, storage, which results in a streamlined maintenance and support for the business. So popular example for this service would be your Gmail, Salesforce, Dropbox, SAP Concur, GoToMeeting, Cisco WebEx, etc. So on a daily, very simple example would be Gmail, because everyone uses that, right? Everyone would be having their personal account on Gmail. So it's an example of SaaS. It's like you just enter the URL in the cloud on the internet, like gmail.com, you go there, you have your credentials in place and you log in. So in the backend, how it is being maintained, how it is being facilitated to you, you have no control over it. It is being managed by the provider, the third-party vendor. So that is called SaaS, software as a service. Everything traditionally, you don't know anything about it. It's just being available to you while putting an URL on the internet, and you are able to access it, utilize it. If there are any technical glitch, if there is an error, that is being sorted by a third-party provider. That is why all these services, all these boxes, I have put and mentioned it as provider managers. So that is a good example of software as a service. Now, what are the advantages of this software as a service, SaaS? So it provides numerous advantages to employees and companies by greatly reducing the time and money spent on tedious tasks, such as installing, managing, and upgrading software. This frees up plenty of time for technical staff to spend on more pressing matters and issues within the organization. So, as I said, for Gmail, you do not need to upgrade or install this separately. You just need to enter the URL on internet and you can access it. However, there are some limitations and concerns also associated to SaaS utilization. For example, one would be lack of integration support. So what example we just gave for Gmail, it is more from the personal usage perspective. But when it comes to the organization, so there is always a challenge which many organization faces, is that they need to have this integration with on-premise applications, data, and services. Because there are many applications to run a business. There would be some legacy applications, there would be some third-party data, there would be some outsider services. So the SaaS vendor may offer limited support in this regard, which force organizations to invest internal resources in designing and managing integrations. The complexity of integrations can further limit how the SaaS application or other dependent services can be used. And that's where it poses a challenge that if you really want to leverage this solution within your organizations. Second is customization. So this applications, this software as a service application, they offer minimal customization capabilities. Since one-size-fits-all solution does not exist, and users may be limited to specific functionality, performance, and integrations as offered by the vendor. In contrast, on-premise solutions, they come with many software development kits, offer a high degree of customization options. Hence, again, it throws a challenge if you really want to use it in the bigger organization. That is the second part. Third is feature limitations. Since it comes in a standardized form, right? So the choices of features may be a compromising trade-off against security, cost, performance, or other organizational policies. Further, vendor lock-in, cost, security concerns may mean it is not viable to switch vendors or services to serve new feature requirements in future. So it is like that, let's say, for example, an organization decides to deploy a SaaS-based solution in their landscape. They are successfully running it. But let's say in future, some new business requirement arises. And now, since it's a standard format, it's a standard solution, there is a high chance that this solution will not be able to cater to the new need in the environment. And hence, it again becomes a challenge for businesses to further invest in their resources and then to further come up with the new solutions which would cater to the new needs of the business. So these were the few challenges what SaaS has to offer in this landscape. Now, moving on to the PaaS, which is called as platform as a service. This is a second service model provided by cloud. So it's a framework for developers that they can build upon and use to create customized applications. So here, you can see all the last part, which is your runtime, middleware, OS, server, storage, networking. All this could be managed by the enterprise or a third-party vendor, while developers can maintain the management of applications. So developer who is going to build a custom-based solution is only responsible to manage this part. And this part entirely can be managed by the enterprise itself or some third-party vendor. I think I could see some chat messages. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, let's continue. Now, yeah, so everything else. Yeah. So now, so now everything else could be managed by the organization or the third-party vendor. So with this in place, it becomes easier for a developer to create the softwares and deliver services over the internet. Since this platform is being delivered via the web, so it gives developers the freedom to concentrate on building the software without having to worry about operating system, software updates, storage, or infrastructure. So platform as a service in a broader context allows business to design and create applications that are built into the PaaS with the special software components. These applications sometimes are called middleware and middleware, and these applications are scalable and highly available as they take on certain cloud characteristics. So what would be the popular examples of this PaaS? So I think the popular examples, what we have from hyperscalers like AWS and Google and Red Hat, I think there are AWS Elastic Beanstalk, and from Google, it is Google App Engine, and from and OpenShift, etc. So again, in our next session, which is going to be a hands-on workshop, we will configure AWS Beanstalk on AWS Management Portal and see how easy it is to configure such services, just few clicks. It's very simple. So what are the advantages PaaS has to offer in the industry? So one is, it is simple, cost-effective development and deployment of applications. It's way easier. Second, it is highly available and scalable. Third, developers can customize apps without the headache of maintaining the software. Fourth, it's a significant reduction in the amount of coding needed. Fifth, it is very easy migrate to hybrid model. So these are few of the advantages which PaaS platform has to offer. Having said that, it has some limitations and concerns as well. So let's have a look at those. First one is customization of legacy systems. As I stated earlier also, that within organization, we have some legacy systems like mainframe systems. We have some old applications which cannot be directly moved to cloud. We need to re-architect, we need to re-platform, or we need to do some upgrades before moving it to cloud. And these kind of workloads poses a bigger challenge in front of the organizations. So having said this, for addressing such issues wherein customization of legacy systems required, PaaS cannot be cannot or may not be a plug-and-play solution for existing legacy applications and services. Instead, several customizations and configurations may be necessary for legacy systems to work with the PaaS services. The resulting customizations can result in a complex IT systems that may limit the value of PaaS investment altogether. As I said, if you have to re-architect and re-platform to such legacy services or applications, you have to put an investment, additional investment. And again, it can limit the value of PaaS investment altogether. So that is really a big challenge. Second is runtime issues. So PaaS solution may not be optimized for the languages and frameworks of your choice. Specific framework versions may not be available or perform optimally with the PaaS service. Hence, customers may not be able to develop custom dependencies with the platform. So it is like that as a developer. I'm just doing an example here. Let's say I'm a Java developer. Like when I used to work like a Java developer in the very initial days of my career. And I wanted to use a specific framework, let's say JSF framework, to develop an application. So it is available in a traditional IT way of developing the code. But if I want to use this if I want to develop any application using this framework, so there is a highly chance that the platform as a service solution may not offer this facility to me, that I can leverage only this framework and develop this custom applications. So that is where you get this runtime issues. So this is one of the challenge which you can see or feel with platform as a service. So again, while knowing both the sides, like pros and cons, it's up to business, it's up to us decide that what works best for our need, and accordingly we make a decision. Now, last but not the least, it is IaaS, which is called as infrastructure as a service. So in infrastructure as a service, the last part, which is infrastructure, your network, storage, servers, everything will be managed by a provider, a third-party vendor or provider. And organization or businesses will have control all this. So this is the model IaaS has to offer. So what it is? It is fully self-service for accessing and monitoring computers, networking, storage, and other services. It allows business to purchase resources on demand and as needed, instead of having to buy hardware outright. It delivers cloud computing infrastructure, including servers, network, operating systems, and storage through virtualization technology. Simply put, it provides the same technologies and capabilities as a traditional data center without having to physically maintain or manage all of it. IaaS clients can still access their servers and storage directly, but it is all outsourced through a virtual data center in the cloud. So if I have to tell very popular examples, then it would be hyperscalers like AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, which offers a service called Google Compute Engine for IaaS. So again, as I said earlier also, we will cover this Amazon AWS infrastructure services in our next session. We will configure most of all the services on AWS management portal in our next session. And again, I'll just showcase you that how easy it is to configure such services on the portal with just few clicks. So what are the advantages it has to offer? So it is the most flexible cloud computing model, and I would say that most popular also. It provides hardware, it provides, it is very highly scalable, and it's easy to automate deployment of storage, networking, service, and processing power. Third, with this model in place, client retain complete control of their infrastructure, because only this infrastructure part will be managed by the provider. Rest of the services, rest of the tech stack, so client has the control over it. That's why it makes it most popular again. And then you can purchase the resources as and when needed, and it is scalable as well. Having said this, with the advantages, what it has to offer, it has some limitations and concerns as well. First one, again, I'll go back to my most talked about, example, legacy systems operating in cloud. Because why I am, again, keep on giving the same example, because when you start talking to the business, this is the most common pain points across the companies, across the organization. When you start your journey of migration to cloud. So while customers can run legacy applications in the cloud, infrastructure, the underlying infrastructure of those applications may not be designed to deliver specific controls to secure the applications. So as I said, minor enhancement to legacy applications may be required before migrating them to cloud. Possibly, it may lead to new security issues unless you adequately tested it for the security and the performances in the IR system. So again, my most favorite example is mainframe system. It's a legacy system, and it's really not an easy task to move it to public cloud. So to do so, as I said, we have to further look for options like re-architecting, re-platform, which again needs a greater level of due diligence to decide and make the right decision. And I must tell you, ladies, that this is one of the common talk of the town, where any organization, before deciding their journey to cloud, they consider that what kind of legacy workloads they have in their landscape and what would be the right choice or decision to make them to move them to public cloud. So that is one of the concern. Second is internal resources and training. So as you are venturing out to the public cloud journey, so definitely there is additional resources and training may be required for the workforce, right? To learn how to effectively manage the infrastructure. And then they will also be responsible for data security, backup, and business continuity. So monitoring and management of the resources may be difficult without adequate training and resources available in-house. So it poses a greater level of responsibility to the organization to train their workforce well before making a decision to move to the cloud. Since now we have covered all three models. One is SaaS, then PaaS, then IaaS, right? So in nutshell, if I have to say, each cloud model offers specific features and functionalities. And it is crucial for your organization to understand the differences. So whether you need a cloud-based software for a storage option or a smooth platform that allows you to create customized applications, or complete control over your entire infrastructure without having to physically maintain it, there is a cloud service for you, right? We just discussed all these three options. This is a software-based solution. This is a platform-based solution. This is an infrastructure-based solution. So we have all these three options available with us, but it's our responsibility that how do we decide which one fits best in our landscape and which one is the best solution to cater to our business needs, and accordingly decide on it. But having said that, no matter which option you choose, migrating to cloud is the future of business and technology. Now, moving on to the next section, so here we will talk about the types of cloud. Actually, that which cloud deployment models, or simply put, what are the types of cloud we have today, and which one is best for our business, or which one is best to cater to our needs. To begin with, we have first, which is public cloud. So public cloud is an IT model where on-demand computing services and infrastructures are managed by a third-party provider. And it is shared with multiple organizations using the public internet. Hence, it is also called as multi-tenant because it is managed by a third-party provider. At the same time, it is shared with the multiple organizations using the public internet. So public cloud service providers may offer cloud-based services such as infrastructure as a services, platform as a services, and software as a services to users for either a monthly fee or pay-per-use fee, which eliminates the need for businesses or end users to host these services on the side in their own data center, and they can host it very well in the public cloud, which is on the public internet. So we discussed, right, this infrastructure as a service and platform as a services and software as a services. So public cloud service providers or hyperscalers also, we call them, like AWS and Azure and Microsoft Azure and then Google, they provide all these three type of services. Now, moving on to the private cloud. So private cloud is a single tenant environment, meaning organization using it does not share these resources with other users. These sources can be hosted and managed in a variety of ways. In any case, the private cloud and its resources are dedicated to a single user or tenant. So it is not being shared with other resources or with other users, and it is managed by and it provides the dedicated services to a single organization, and that's why it is called as single tenant. So the best use of it is that since it is not being shared with other users or other organizations, it provides you a greater control on the security part, on the compliances. Hence, you see that many of the organizations, or if I have to specify the industries, so industries like healthcare, industries like banking and insurance, where this compliances and security is a very big requirement, they are pretty much opting for private cloud only for their critical workloads. I'm not saying that they are, opting for it at a very larger level. It's for their critical workloads where they need to have the application where they cannot afford to have a latency. They need to have they have to maintain some compliances. That's where this becomes a very a go-to choice for organizations. And the example of private cloud would be, let's say IBM, they have their own cloud. Then TCS, we also have our own private cloud, which we call as enterprise cloud platform. And then there are other companies also who they offer their private cloud as one of the offerings. Now, last but not the least is hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud, as the name suggests, it's a combination of both public, private, and on-premise workload. It's a popular choice for businesses nowadays. Why it is so? Reason being, as I already stated, organizations has some legacy workloads, which is critical to business needs. And perhaps migrating those to public cloud cannot be a good option. Therefore, most of the times, businesses tend to move the legacy as well as critical workloads to private cloud, whereas other workloads could be moved to the public cloud. By doing so, businesses make the smart choice of leveraging both the option to the greater level. So, as I said in the beginning, while explaining this private cloud, Let's take an example of a banking and financial company. So there are few informations which is very critical related to compliance, compliance related matters. Your account numbers, and then your transaction details, and then how you transfer money, and then how you transfer outside the geography. So, and then they have, most of the time, BFSI customers, they have a larger chunk of mainframe system as well. So when these BFSI customers decide that they have to start on their cloud first journey, so what choices they take? So in my experiences, what I have seen that all these BFSI customers, most of the time, for their legacy applications, which contains part of mainframe system, most of the times, they will try to host that on the private cloud. Okay. And the other workloads, other on-premise workloads or other less critical workloads, wherein requirement is not very critical and they are not that much critical to the business need. Those less critical workloads, they tend to move to public cloud. So then combination of such environment becomes the hybrid cloud. So I have seen it with many BFSI customers, and it's a very popular choice. And it is being also opted with other industries like healthcare, because they have this data, personal information related to individuals. Hence, it also becomes critical to capture or store all those information on the private cloud, whereas the other workloads can be moved to the public cloud. So with this, I end my presentation and open the floor for any Q&A. I hope I am making sense so far. And I'll try to answer questions or queries if there are any. So yeah, over to you, ladies. Is there any question? Am I audible?
Thank you, Jagrati. I think that this is very, very, very good info package from cloud computing. You said before that we have in future a workshop about cloud computing, so I I ask for it that have you some talks what we will do then, or will we wait some info before we can launch the workshop?
Yes, so I think if I get it rightly, definitely we plan to have the next hands-on workshop on 25th of October as the date decided. We will configure all the, so we will deep dive for AWS, Amazon Web Services, cloud services offered by them. And we will discuss in detail about those services. And we will also try to configure those services on the AWS management portal. So it will give it will help actually to participants to see that how easy to deploy such applications on internet, on AWS portal. And it will really help them understand and feel that how it is actually being done. But before going to that level, I just wanted to set the fundamentals that when you say cloud, what do you mean by cloud? And then what are the services models we have in place and what are the types of cloud? So I hope with this presentation, I was able to make some sense to the participants. And I hope if they have understood it, or if they have grabbed even a bit of this, that would be really good to know.
Yeah, and in the chat is a very good question about, is the future workshop going to be beginning friendly? And you say that yes.
Yeah. So it is going to be a beginner friendly. So I will literally start that from the scratch. I will also show you that, how you can log into that portal, and then step by step I will showcase you that how you can individually configure those applications or those services in that portal. Yes, it will be beginner friendly.
Yeah, sounds very good. So we will wait more info, and we will post it on Mimmit, Koodaa, social media, etc. So
Can we
maybe
have a poll here? Can we have a poll here? Is it possible?
Maybe we.
Okay, so anyways, I would like to ask one question to the participants.
Yeah.
Did you like the session? Any feedback, any inputs, so that I can improve on for my next workshops onwards?
I would like to say that it was very, very easily understandable, very concise. So thank you for that. I had no problems whatsoever to follow, even though I'm not that deep into this, into the subject yet. But yeah, very well done and very well structured. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for your input, Daniela. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Dari. I could see the message. Thanks a lot. Yes, so the intention was to have it at a very beginner level. It was not for someone who already knows or who already understands what it is. So intention was to have it at the beginner level, and similarly for the workshop also, as I already said, that is going to be at the beginner level.
Yeah, maybe we will let people do what they want, and I wish everybody a lovely Thursday, and see you next time.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your time today, and hope to see you in my next workshop. And have a lovely Thursday, and take care.